Good morning. We are going to be doing the article about Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and about a wonderful series of books that he wrote that you probably might be familiar with. First things first, let's start with our question page, which is found on page 30, and let's identify the important information for us to be looking for. So, first things first, number 1. Doyle didn't want to write any more Sherlock Holmes stories after the first year because no one was buying Sherlock Holmes books. He thought the stories were not his best work. He wanted to spend more time working in his office, or he couldn't think of any more Holmes stories. The phrase that's important here is that he didn't want to write any more Sherlock Holmes. And I'm going to go ahead and write why here. Why did he not want to do that anymore? Doyle's first job was that of an eye doctor, a family physician, a storekeeper, or an author. First job. Let's find out what his first job was. Each of the following statements about Sherlock Holmes stories is true, except Doyle wrote 68 Holmes tales. Only the Bible has sold more copies. Holmes stories are the best known works of Doyle, or no one reads Sherlock Holmes stories anymore. We have that word in here, except, which means we're looking for the wrong answer. What is not true about these statements? Sherlock Holmes' character resembles one of Doyle's patients, is named after one of Doyle's friends, acts like the poet Oliver Wendell Holmes, or resembles one of Doyle's college teachers. The character. We want to know something about the character. The first Sherlock Holmes story, first made an appearance in a book of short stories, was named A Study in Scarlet, impressed a magazine publisher named Jim News, or was written by Edgar Allan Poe. I'm going to highlight first story. We're looking for information about the very first one. Let's turn the page. Number 6, Sherlock Holmes' assistant was a college professor named Dr. Watson, was a medical doctor named Dr. Watson, was named after a poet, or was killed in a story called The Final Problem. I'm going to highlight Holmes' assistant, just to help us remember that we're thinking about Holmes' assistant instead of maybe a different person's name who comes up later. We want to remember that it's the assistant to Sherlock Holmes. Number 7, Sherlock Holmes was brought back to life because fans, the Queen of England and Doyle's mother, asked for more Sherlock Holmes stories. Doyle missed writing Sherlock Holmes stories. Doyle needed the money he could make in selling stories. Or Hollywood wanted to make a Sherlock Holmes movie. We're going to highlight brought back to life. So he died, or the character of Sherlock Holmes died, but came back. Why? Number 8, George Nunez was a banker, never liked Sherlock Holmes stories, was a magazine publisher who paid Doyle to write 2 years' worth of Sherlock Holmes stories, or was one of Doyle's favorite partners or patients. We're looking for this guy's name. I'm not going to highlight it because it's the whole question, but we're looking for something about George Nunez. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle became a rich and famous man, died poor and unknown, wrote nothing but Sherlock Holmes stories, wrote stories because he did not get enough work as a lawyer. So again, the whole question is about a person. So when it comes to 8 and 9, we're looking for a fact about these people, something that is true. And then number 10, Sherlock Holmes stories are teenage romance novels, are hard to find today, are detective tales, or never made Doyle much money. We want to know a fact about the stories. So just like 8, 9, and 10, we want a fact about the stories.